Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of Panthera Africa's 10-year anniversary year. So this day we sort of sharing the foundation of what happened prior to setting up Panthera Africa and what's actually went through our minds, our hearts, like what did it actually, what does it take to set up a sanctuary? So Lizanne and myself, we had decided to go 6 weeks to Norway. We knew that there was our hearts and our souls and everything was kind of building up. We knew we had like a dream, yet we hadn't put it down on paper and truly seen and decided. And so we sat at my mom's kitchen table in Oslo in Norway, blank sheets of paper, and there we are. One circle. Okay, this is what the animals. Yes, okay, what do we want to do with animals? Okay, sanctuary. We also want to do the wild. We also want to do education. We also want to do volunteers. We also want to do rescue. Like all of these. And this beautiful tapestry of dreams were actually created on this table on that day. And it became very clear to us because both of us, I remember it, we first did Lausanne and then we did me, and it's like you have this, you feel it, and like when you are on your right path, this is what comes up. It's just like this yes, and you get excited, and it's like the adventure starts. And so in order to have an adventure or a dream come true, you need some funding. So we had some equity, private equity, and an apartment, and then we went to the Norwegian banks and we thought, okay, what are we gonna, let's go this much. And we had put our budget and everything ready, and they were like, we're not touching any property in South Africa, first of all. And we were like, oh, okay, well, then I have this property, can we do this? It's like, yeah, but not this amount. So we got a no. And then we were like, okay, next one. We did this much. Still no. And then we're like, okay, let's then see what is it that we actually need. What is the bare minimum? That is what we got. And so we had our pot of gold with our dream, and we were ready. And I remember even we sat on my mom's dining room table, and we were busy creating the Facebook page, and like the pure joy of like what photos to take, what to do, what to write, like all these different, even putting in where and what and all of this. And I remember the day we pressed live on our Facebook page. It was a huge moment for both of us. And I remember the support also from previous volunteers and friends and family. Everyone was kind of getting the momentum going. So yeah, I remember it was a massive day. And then when you have your dream, you have your pot of gold, you have a plan, then you're like, okay, where? And so we, at the time, we had then chosen the Western Cape. So at that time, this is back in 2014, we then, it was the only province in South Africa at the time that did not allow any breeding or hunting of the big cat. So we wanted to support this and ensure our animals the safety and security there. As well, it was close to Cape Town, me being like a city girl, at least at the time. And then we looked at, okay, what are spots that's tourism, good tourism places? And we started searching on Malmesbury side. Like none of us had any idea of the Western Cape and actually any of the beauty and the magnificent things that are here. So we searched on Malmesbury side. We were so close to getting a property there. But then I call it divine intervention happened, and it didn't go through. And then we said, okay, let's go total opposite side. Let's look at the tourism in places called Hermanus or Gansbaai. And we were like, okay, wow, this is cool. This is also aligned. And so I remember Lausanne was in Bloemfontein still with the animals, and I then was down here. And I was on my way to go to Gansbaai to look at the property when, like, I call him like my angel friend. He calls at the divine times, and he was like, how is this project of you going? And I was like, yeah, we're actually now looking for property, and yeah, we're on our way to a place called Gansbaai. And he was like, no, like I have a house in Hermanus, but there's a place called Stanford. Go and look there. And I was like, Stanford, I'd never heard of it. So I went on property 24 and was this gut feeling like search a lot higher than what you actually can afford. And there was one property. And I called the broker and I said, okay, it's way above our budget, but is there any chance? And she said, come and look, come and have a look. And so I drove into this, yeah, at the time, honestly, it's a forest of aliens and plants and all of this, but there was this beautiful white house. I drove in there, had a look at all the different bedrooms and everything, and I came out to the porch and I saw these magical mountains. And it was, my eyes actually teared up and my heart was like, this is it. And that was kind of the start of finding our safe haven for ourselves and also for our animals. And this are we now in March 2014. And so then the Lausanne came down, we had the view of the property, we both agreed, and then we needed to kind of get this property for the little money that we had. And I humbly say, but I did a good broker skills there. I used to be a broker, so this is kind of where I used all my old knowledge, and I went in with a really, really ridiculous small little offer, and they came down so much, and I was like, okay, we have a chance here. And little by little by little, we kind of added up, and we were just about to kind of, this is our maximum. We cannot do any further. But I remember I called my parents in Norway, like, if we need to go higher, is there any possibility? And they were like, yes, we will help you if that is needed. But we went back to the broker, said, this is it, we cannot anymore, and you need to go back to the owner and say, take it or leave it. And I hung up the phone. And I remember Lisa, I was like, Kat, no, we can't do, like, we need this property. And I was like, but just like, leave it. Like, I know what I'm doing. Just allow me to do this. I know what I'm doing. And we had like this whole like, la, 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 in the bedroom. And it was like, okay, we leave it. And then we were on our way into a car, on our way to one of her best friends. And on the drive, I got a phone call from the broker. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, Cathrine, this is your lucky day. You just got yourself a property. We were like, yeah! We were like, we even needed to stop the car on the like highway, and because we were so excited, and we were like out of the car and dancing, and it was like, I remember it extremely well, and it was kind of one of the massive milestones on our journey to kind of start Panthera Africa. And so, after that, what comes? Yes, then it is permits. Oh no, actually I want to tell one story. I'll tell one story. So, when we were going to pay, of course, secure this property, we needed to pay a deposit. Normally it's a 10% of the amount. But again, was a gut feeling in my, I was like, no, I'll give 100,000 because the funds are coming from Norway. So this is what I'm going to give you. Okay. Yes, I got the email of the banking accounts. I've transferred 100,000, done deal. And I was kind of waiting, and it went like 1 day, 2 days. And then I was like, okay, I'll need to just call the broker. So like, yeah, I've transferred the funds. Like, what is happening? And she was like, no, there's no funds here. And I was like, okay, what are the banking details? And just kind of check everything. And it turned out someone had hacked the email on the broker's side, so the 100,000 rand disappeared to Scallum, as they say in Afrikaans. And then I was like, okay, but we have paid, this is your thing. And oh my goodness, we needed to go all the way up to the high. I was like, I'm not budging on this. This is your thing, blah, 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 blah. We sat with the big boss of this broker company, and I was like, you are an international company, this is yours. I'll give you a marketing for worthy of 100,000. Just have it sorted. And we got it. So that is just also like, it was my first introduction to the business world of South Africa, because this had never like even been on the kind of naive, trusting Cathrine's heart even to consider anything like this. But now I've learned to double check, triple check, and quadruple check. Anyway, and then then it was starting with our whole application for actually being allowed to set up this sanctuary. So we met with the Cape Nature, the local government. We needed to get the whole plan ready, and this is where, of course, then our business plan came into beautiful play. And we were promised, like, okay, about, like, this was then in March again, end of March 2014, and then we're like, yeah, maybe like September you will have it. And we were like, okay, cool. So with the budget ready, everything, we were like, okay, we will manage to keep our head above water. Okay, so we are back here. The South African sun, a little bit too hot for our beautiful equipment, so we needed to move. So yes, so I'll go back on track. We are now in the time where we're going to apply for the permits to actually get all our things aligned. And as I started to say that we had a meeting in end of March, beginning April, and we were kind of told that, okay, around September will be the time that you will have you can have your permits approved. And so we looked at the budget, we looked at the plan, we were like, okay, we can do this. And so then it started with reaching out to every single supplier, getting quotes, getting everything kind of ready, as well as we did all the clearing of the land. This was then in end of March, beginning April. And so we then started to reach out to all suppliers, every single one that we could get quotes from, to see, like, okay, where are we actually in the region of, and we knew no one in this whole area. So, and Lausanne and myself, I don't think we left this property for like a half a year. So there were like also funny stories. It's like, who are these people? Like we just heard the rumors in this beautiful village. It's like, there is this doctor and there's this princess from Norway, and we were like, where are these coming from? But no one knew who we were because we were working here the whole time. It's a little funny to think back on. But yeah, so all the things that were aligning then for the next months was everything from doing all the clearing of the land, getting beautiful people, free volunteers to come and help us. I remember Annie and Andreas were the first people that were with us here. And then kind of a lot of other people followed. And at the same time, so you kind of have I just want to paint the picture of the amount of things that we actually, I call it like, went through and held space for, because it's like the one thing is the permits and the process of this. Addition to that is to get all the land and everything cleared and prepared. The other thing is also our animals side, because yes, many of our animals we knew were in good hands and taken care of, but there were also animals that were not. And it wasn't not a long time after we came here, then we learned that Aries, our tiger, had actually been killed in the bone trade. And you can just imagine the intensity that and the stress that puts on you for wanting to push this process further. However, you have a government that needs to go through their red tape. It was Aries, it was Obi, when we found him at this breeding farm, like he could barely walk. And these people kept on saying, yeah, if you want them, you need to come and get them. But we're like, we don't have a place to take them to yet. So we were constantly asking them to please help us. And then also at the same time, Shani, who kind of was my heart or is still, but in spirit, was like one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this. She was also suddenly traded and lost in this trade. So all this emotional, enormous pain and stress, at the same trying to keep your mind clear of what you need to do, where you need to go, all of these things. So I remember already, it was just after like 5 months, I started to call the local government office. It's like, hello, it's Cathrine. I'm just following up. Is there any news about our application? And they were like, no, you're a little early. Okay, have a nice weekend. Bye-bye. next week, Friday, same time. Hello, it's Cathrine. I think I continued with this for like 4 months, and these people like, hello, Cathrine. No, still nothing. Nothing is happening. And I remember the day I stood in the newly paved parking that we had then set up for the tourist, and I got a phone call, and it was the town planner himself that called, and he was like, Cathrine, your permit has arrived. I was like, yoo-hoo! So yeah, so persistency is like for us, it felt like forever to get this approval. However, when I speak to other people, they were like, wow, that was fast. Yeah, again, perspective and the amount of stress and all of this. But also to back like a little, like go back again, it's during our set there was so many different things that so we needed to of course secure food for our animals. So we started like, okay, we need to get in the freezer, a big container freezer, as soon as possible to start to store food, because as we know, animals, they eat a lot. And so we had gone through this experience of being frauded by the broker thing, and we were like, okay, now we're going to be very clear and we're going to do this. And we found this reefer online freezer, and we spoke to the guy who was like, yeah, you can even have your tracking on, you will see when they port, when they do all of this. We're like, okay, this is good. So we paid there 50,000 rand. And I remember like we said, okay, it's ported. Okay, I was following and woke up the next morning and I was like, okay, it's here. And then I went on a couple of hours later and I was like, it's still at the same place. And I called. It's like, excuse me, I can see the car. Yeah, it's just stopped for some mechanical problems, but all is good. They will be soon on their way. And I was like, okay. Continued, and I saw there was no movement on this tracker. Called again in the evening and called, no one picked up this phone. And God be willing, these people, they ran away with our 50,000 rand. We did not get the reefer, and there we were. And we were like, you got to be, pardon my French, I won't say it out loud, beep, kidding me. And yeah, then we needed to find another 50,000 from a friend, or we actually then needed to pay 100,000 for this proper reefer from a company. And yeah, blessed we had, in the kind of the hardship, we also had beautiful people coming to our rescue. So yeah, so this was also like all at the same time these things are happening. But we also had so much fun, because when we were clearing all of this, we were like posting on our Facebook page, come and do like free exercise at Panthera Africa, help to clear land and do like some boot camp here. And we were like we got the delivery of, I don't know, like, I think it was like 400 concrete bricks. And because we couldn't drive in, we didn't have a proper car yet. So we had to walk with these bricks and put it out at all the different houses in the different enclosures. So yeah, we got very fit physically as well. And so we are now coming to September, October. We planted our first pole. I think it was of 488 poles or something. Lizanne knows the exact amount. The last weekend of September. We're now in 2014. And I take my hat off for Lizanne and for these. We had 10 people arriving in here of workers. They were all sleeping on site every day for over 3.5 months. Got up at 6 o'clock, finished at 6 o'clock every single day. And the amount of, like, I don't nearly think any other person than Lizanne would be able to pull this off, because the amount of lists and what needed to come in order, because if the fences were up, we couldn't drive in with the thing, so then this needs to happen before this needs to happen. Like, it was a puzzle. Like, I love puzzles, but like this puzzle was a different level. So yeah, so I remember we were doing all of this, and we came then to December, just before Christmas. All our enclosures were up, kilometers and then kilometers of enclosures. We had our perimeter up, everything was set up, and then we were like waiting for our permit. Nothing came. And suddenly I think it was the 20th of December, and we got a letter and an email saying that, oh, we are so sorry. This is from the environmental department. It looks like you are triggering some environmental clauses, and we need a process of 8 months. And then, oh yeah, Merry Christmas, we close in 10 minutes. And we were like, what? Like, first of all, we were at rock bottom with our finances. We were at like our animals, like, so Aries was dead, Shani was missing, Obi was just hanging on for dear life, and here we were like 8 months. We will never be able to do this, and we couldn't call anyone because the whole of South Africa goes on vacation for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks. And so we then were like, okay, well, then we need to prepare. So we then, Lisanne and myself, we got then all our documentation ready. We got everything we could think of under this blue moon. We got hired in a professional environmental gentleman, and we were like, I wrote an email to the highest of highest in the, both in Cape Nature and the municipality of this department. I said, you please come for a visit on the 10th of January when you open your offices, because we need to show you that we are not triggering anything. And God be willing, we got all these people here. I don't know how we managed, but they all came here, and that was kind of the viewing of a lifetime, because we were like, we had all our paperwork in our hands, and we had prepared, and these people came with questions, they came with everything. It's like, well, why have you done this and this? And then we could go, Lisanne took up, yeah, well, in this email in September you wrote this and this, so this is why we've done this. And he was like, oh okay. And so we managed to kind of answer all their questions. And this lady, she came like, this house, like, how can you build this house here? It was like, it's been here for 10 years. Like, we haven't even built it. And then we had, and then 1 week later, we got our permit from the municipality that we can do this. But then it was Cape Nature. And we were like, oh my dear God, okay, so. But at this moment, then we had, like, literally, we had gone from over 3 million in our bank account. We were like on 100,000. And so I remember I was like, what am I going to do? And I woke up one morning, like I think at 6 o'clock, and I was like, we're going to do a promotion. And it was just like boosted on our Facebook page. It's like, any volunteer, whether you want to come in 2030, anytime, we will give you the opportunity, 50% off, pay all your money now. But you can come. You don't need to decide when or whatever, but just pay now. And so they did. And we got in 200,000 rand, which, it makes me, it's like we've been so close so many times. And it's been so hard at times, because the stress and also like the love we have for these animals, to bring them safe and to really, really have the support of people all over the world that is wanting to see us succeed. It's it's very, very moving. So and I remember we had then done this whole, we got our approval from the municipality. Lisanne and myself, we had been invited to go to a wedding in India, which was way planned long time ago. And we sat in Goa, of all places in India, and the email came in, and there it was, you have your approval from Cape Nature, you can bring your animals home. And it was the 4th of March 2015, and it will be this date will forever stand great in our history. Prior to this, Miss Lisanne, like super planner, everything was set. She was like, okay, go. And she had already spoken to transporters, crates, people, film crew, everything was ready. And we're like, in 2 weeks, we then managed to get everything started. 15th of March was the day that we brought our animals home. But that is for the next episode. So wait and see for number 3, where all the rescues and the bringing our kids and our animals home to Panthera Africa. Thank you for watching.